Aloha, all you moneymakers. This is Indar Lang. Super excited today to talk to you guys about the Hawaii housing problem. This is season 2, episode 4, and we're gonna come at you guys and talk about kind of the things that people don't want to talk about, the housing problem, especially us flippers. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it and let's do it. So this is a huge topic in Hawaii. The housing problem, it's just nonstop talking about, from every low class to high class to everybody. Is people being priced out of homes? Are people being pushed out of Hawaii? And they are. Local people can't afford the pricing, so they're finding cheaper places to live, Vegas and Texas, and a lot of local people are moving to these places because the cost of living in general is cheaper there. And it's not just the housing. So if it was just the housing, then that could be the solution. But it's everything. Milk, the cost of gas, all these kind of things all add up. And this is what is driving people out there. They can live in Texas and be in a mansion at $500,000 for a house, and the cost of everything else is also deflated, and not to mention all that other cost that you have. But let's talk about mostly the housing problems or the housing crisis, and maybe talk about some solutions or directions and kind of my thoughts on it all. The housing problem here in Hawaii, obviously, it stems from, we have an island, and there's only so much land on this island and so much places to build a house. So that's kind of just the simplicity of it all. We have an island, and it's limited supply of location, of where to put it, and also shoreline. As houses get closer to shoreline, there's bigger demand by the shoreline, of course, right? So that demand will drive up prices as well. And that's kind of the outer ring of our island, right? All the shoreline stuff, they go up faster, which actually kind of inflate the overall value of our houses. So maybe in some of the interior and the normal type of houses, it's not as high compared to the average, because of the higher end houses are on the ocean, of course, right? Another thing, talk about why our housing prices are so high. You believe it's the land. You're paying for the land. I did a flip on Portlock. We bought it for, I can't remember the numbers. We bought it for like 2.5 million or I don't know what I bought it for. 2.2 million, sold it at 3.2 million. But when we sold it, the value was 2.7 million was the land, and the house was only deemed 300,000 in value. So just think about that. The house is only deemed 300,000. That's equivalent to a house in Idaho where the house is 300,000. It's a mega house with a maid's quarter and so forth. So that same type of house is pretty equivalent to Idaho or someplace like that. But in Idaho, they're not paying for the land cost as much as us. So that's one thing to really equate to why our pricing is so much. It's the land, obviously. You just don't think about it. It's just the land. So when you are buying a lot of homes, it's more of a land buy. It's more of a location buy. For example, there was a flipper a long time ago who would do flips, and he would just do bare minimum dollar tile, Frigidaire appliances, and just really a cheap type of flip. But it would be in Kailua, next to the beach, but everything's nice, new and clean and brand new, of course. So he painted, he did all the new stuff to the house. But people would buy that expensive high-end house because of the land, because of the location. So here in Hawaii, land is what we are buying for. That's what's pricing people out. Everyone wants to live by the ocean, including myself. I want to have the fishing pole at night, and I want to be able to jump in my canoe and go surf. But I can't afford to live by the ocean. I don't have a $6 million house, or some of them are like $22 million houses. So that's what draws the prices is really the land values. So as you want to get cheaper, you can go to the inskirts of the island, or maybe the farther out places, Waianae and so forth, where the land value is not as much and so forth, and you can get more of affordable type of homes. So that's a huge thing. So it's supply and demand is what really drives our pricing. Supply, meaning the amount of houses we have, and that's a huge problem right there in itself. In Hawaii, we have a really, really strict permit process. It's really hard to get a permit. I don't know whose fault it is. We can blame it on everybody and so forth, but it is what it is. It's really hard to get a permit. It takes over a year plus to get a repair permit just for a simple addition to your garage, anything easy. It's just a year process. Same thing with the building process. To build a house, it's even harder to get that permit. It's really hard to get that permit. It's everybody's fault, but no one takes blame for it. So we're not going to blame anyone. It just is what it is, and there's no solutions for it. The DPP is self-run by itself. They don't need the our state's money, so they really run on their own, and they're going to do what they're going to do. And there's no solutions for it. The only solution to me for it is they need to outsource the whole permitting process, or really just revamp the whole system, because it's not going to get any better. So since that's not getting any better, it doesn't allow big builders to come in and build. It doesn't make it easy for developers to come develop more homes, more places to live. And even if they are affordable homes, it still takes a permit to do. So even if a developer or somebody comes to build, 100 homes at affordable rates for you guys, he's not going to do it, because the cost is hard to do, the timelines. What kills deals often is time. And to develop a home, sitting on a property for over 2 years to wait for a permit would kill a flip for me, and so I always want to believe that what I'm doing is providing opportunities, providing housing for the local people. What we're doing is taking houses that are just chronic and crackheads and kicking them out, and then providing it back to the local community, local families. So we are helping with the supply, but again, my 20 houses a year doesn't really, it's a drop in the bucket compared to what supply is really needed with, I don't know how many people buy houses a year. I think it's a couple thousand plus homes are sold a year here in Hawaii, if not more. I'm just throwing numbers out. But the developers are not developing homes fast enough. They're not building housing fast enough. And we're just talking about our local supply that we need here in Hawaii. These are, kids growing up and needing to leave the house and buy their own house. Or these are families who are getting bigger. They need to buy a bigger house. So just alone on our local supply, we couldn't even keep up. And then we have a big influx of military who are buying houses, and they sell a lot. So military is a pretty heavy pool in Hawaii, or people who have VA type of loans. They're a huge pool because they can get houses pretty much for free. So they are buying and selling a lot of homes as well. And there's military that's coming and going a lot. So that's a huge pool in our house. The foreign buyers, very small and few. I think it's only like 1 to 3% what they buy. And then there's mainland people who buy here as well. But 78% of our homes are actually sold to local people. And those local people are not able to find enough supply, and that's what will drive the pricing up. Right now it's kind of sustaining our market because there is not that many people buying, not that many people selling their current home to buy into a new home. That's the majority of the group who buying houses. People who are selling a house into a bigger house, or people who need to buy a house, can afford a new one. So it's kind of majority of people who are buying. So back to it. So the supply. We can't get enough supply for these people to buy houses. And that's just not, there's no solutions for it. The government the state should allow developers or flippers maybe a speedier, faster process to get the house done, to be able to get it back to our community. That would actually drive the prices down. And just to be clear, as a flipper, I want the prices down. I don't want to be buying $1 million houses myself. I want $200,000-$300,000 houses to be buying myself. So I don't want the prices up, myself included. So people often misunderstand that, you're a flipper, you're the reason the prices are driving up. I'm actually the solutions why the price is driving down, because I'm trying to provide more supply to the market, thus lowering the cost of the homes. We sell our houses not at some astronomical crazy number. That would be crazy. You would never get into a deal thinking you're going to get some stupid number. We sell at what the market calls for. We use comps. We use what other homes have sold for. and you have to be conservative. That you never want to say, oh, I'm going to sell way above some crazy number. You sell what somebody's willing to pay for it. You sell what others have paid for the homes in that area. So we're not pushing the market. We're selling just at what market is. Just like any product you do and any service you guys have, you sell a product at what others would pay for it. It's called the market value. So just to be clear on that. So we, as flippers, I think, are helping in that sense and trying to bring more products to the market and help clean up communities. I personally feel like I'm cleaning up a community because I've done some really bad houses with chronics and needles and crackheads. I remember this one house had just needles everywhere, and there's kids running around the house next door. And I just felt like it was such a good thing at that time to take this house and revamp it around. Actually, we just got a house just coming today. Check out our social media. That it was bad, and the kids were like playing through the trash of this house, and it's just like, man, we're cleaning up this community now for better new families to come and enjoy for years to come, and for the next family to enjoy this house for another 15 to 30 years, and now they can raise their kids in this house, in a great community. So you have a great neighbor. Now you have a great people around you as well. The next part we'll talk about supply is demand. So demand is an often underestimated part of it all, but demand is super important, as we were just talking about. And demand really explores the kind of the demographics of it all, of who is buying it, what they need to buy, and why they're buying. So where is the demand? And as I was explaining earlier, demand is really in that local family being able to afford a house. That family be able to afford a house. It's that family who has a dog, who has a boat, and 2 little kids. That just the cliche family, and what they can afford. And I found that was a problem early on myself, and I actually focused on that market. So I started pinpointing markets that would be able to, that type of family can afford affordable houses. So we done a ton of homes in Waianae and Eva back in the day when Kaneohe was cheap, and some of the outskirts, the more affordable parts of town. And I focused heavily on those areas myself because those would sell fast. People needed those areas. A guy who works construction and the wife is a waitress, generally they can afford those 500 to 600, whatever they can afford. That you want to focus on that part of the market. That's everybody. And that's what I found early on, and that's what I think we became successful doing. We were doing a lot of projects in Waianae and a lot of rebuilds and rehabs in Waianae when no one else wanted to be out there. And that's what people can afford. And that's really, I think, the bread and butter, what the demand is, to focus on that price point from anywhere under $1 million and down. And believe it or not, that's the cheaper part of our market. And focusing on myself on those cheaper parts of the market really brought up that there is a huge demand for these type of homes, and there is a huge demand for these families to have something to start with. And maybe you don't buy the $1 million house up front. You start off in the cheaper house. You buy the $300,000 to $500,000 townhouse or condo, and then you sell that, and then you buy the more expensive house. And that's what you're looking at. You're looking at those people who may have started in the condo and now are trying to buy the house, for the bigger. And that's something for us. We lived in a condo and we had 2 kids and we needed to buy a bigger house. And it's just that same kind of revolution of families. They have now kids and they want a place for the kids to run around, or now they have a dog and a boat and they want a place to park the boat. And, they're going to go where they can afford. And not to mention, there are some really good loans when you're out in the affordable places. When you're out in the West Side and Eva Beach, you can get a USDA loan, which is no money down type of loan, low income type of assistance loans they have for you. Department of Agriculture is what it is, and they give you these great loans to really help people afford houses. So there's a lot of loans out there. There's a lot of things people can do to get loans and get houses, but people think they can't afford it, or they're only hearing about these big costs of these high-end homes. And that is true in Kahala, and that is true in these higher-end areas of Hawai'i or wherever it may be. But you don't need to be moving to Kahala in your first house. I mean, I would love to myself, but that's not realistic. You know, you're not going to go live in a $5 million house off the bat. So people really have to figure out that, okay, I can't go live in Kahala. I need to go buy what I can afford, live in that in a couple of years. I'll sell that, make some money off of that, and then I'll go buy the bigger house. And then maybe I can eventually get into Kahala. So it's not, I'm just going to get into the higher end homes because, that's all it is. It's just being different and your thinking of it all. And the reason we're so different here in Hawaii is, again, it's based upon location. We want to live in certain locations. In the mainland, they will have, for example, like LA's right in the middle, right? They'll have all these other counties that you can live around just to get to that same area. So they're not really worried about location because they have so many different areas they can live to get to that same area that they need to. So they're not really concerned on location as much as quality. So in their markets in the mainland, they're more concerned on quality. They want the higher end finishes. They want marble and hardwood floors and lighting and fancy stuff. Here we want location. And that's what is a big divide that people don't understand of it all. Is why our pricing obviously so much is based upon location, and why in the mainland location doesn't control our market as we do, is more upon quality. And I was just getting a little off track, but sorry. The affordable pricing, the solution is don't think you're going to go live in the Kahala $10 million house. Think of what you can afford and go buy that and live that in a few years and buy the next bigger house. I was 26 at the time and I couldn't afford Kahala, but I can afford a $200,000 box this big, and me and my wife went and bought this small little condo, and girlfriend at the time, she helped me pay for it, and I couldn't afford it, and she helped me kind of get by and struggle, and the struggle bus, it was real. I ate a lot of ramen and barely got by, but we lived in it, and we paid our own mortgage, which when you're paying your own mortgage, you're putting money back in your pocket. You're paying down your own debt, your own what you owe on the property. So that's a cool thing about paying a mortgage compared to paying rent. So when you're paying rent, that money never comes back to you. But when you're paying a mortgage, you're paying down your debt. So when you go to sell that property, you have less that you owe, which is thus money back in your property pocket. And we lived in a condo. We painted it. We did some stuff ourselves, and we sold it in a year. And we sold it for $340,000 and made $90,000 off that thing. And then we used that to start flipping. But then we bought another condo at $400,000, and then lived in that for 2 to 4 years. I think it was 4 years. And we sold that at $700,000. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is just a slow process to getting you into Kahala if you want to be in Kahala. And that, people are complaining about they can't afford these houses. This is the process. We sold it at $700,000. Then we bought $1 million house in Hawai'i that we put a huge down payment down, and thanks to the sale of that property, and we've been living in Hawai'i for almost 4 years now. And the house is worth $2 million, and we'll maybe sell it. I don't know. Maybe we'll sell it at $2.5 million, and we'll take that hefty down payment, and then maybe I'll get to Kahala on the beach. But I just want to emphasize the process is not overnight quick. The process is a slow stepping stone. Maybe you go buy a simple townhouse in Eva Beach, or something that's affordable. You live in there. You pay your own mortgage down. You paint it. You just be a good person and take care of your stuff. The property will be fine. And then it goes up and you sell it and you buy the next one. I know it sounds simple, but it is more complex, of course. But it starts with taking a step. And you got to be comfortable with moving every 5 years. And if you're not, there's other ways to do it all. But So that's a solution. That's a solution right there. I mean, other solution is to build more houses to help lower the supply and demand and help bring prices down, which would be amazing if the city would allow that. But honestly, there might be something up with the city, some kind of, I don't know. I think there's a reason why they don't want that built. I think there's something that we don't know in it all. And I'd be questioning what you guys think. Actually, comment, please message what you guys think. Does this city not want us to build more housing because they want to keep the control up? They want to keep the housing pricing up because they make a lot. You guys didn't realize, but the number one industry where the city makes money is in real estate. It's not tourism. They make a ton of money from real estate, from all the property taxes, and when you sell a property, it costs a lot here in Hawaii. When rentals and so forth, and all the GET tax and everything, their number one source of income is real estate, the commissions they make and everything. So I know you didn't realize that, but that maybe is an underlying reason why they want the properties up. I don't know. I'm just spitting it here, but that could be a big reason. The city doesn't want us to have demand, or maybe they thinking more demand would bring more people. But just because you allow to build more property doesn't mean more people are going to come. People have to want to come, or have to be able to be here. So the building part of it all, they can build 1,000 million houses, doesn't mean nothing unless people, the demand is there. So don't think building 100 houses is a bad thing. Okay, all of a sudden we have all the people coming. People are coming no matter what. That's not the problem. It's where they have the place to stay, where they have the place to sleep and buy, And if there's fewer places to buy, then they're gonna bid on it, and they're gonna push the prices up. But I really want local people to be able to afford houses and beat people back here. There's a ton of other creative solutions that I can offer you guys to follow. So, you can take HELOCs, you can borrow equity. There's a lot of other things you can do to get your first down payment, or you don't even need a down payment. You can buy a house with no money down. So please follow, comment, and I will help you guys as well on all our channels. But there is a solution. We just got to let you guys know about it. We do have a question that somebody's asked. Indar, with the rising cost of housing in Hawaii, is it still a good time to invest in real estate, and how can I make sure I'm making a sound investment? So from Lanai. So in Hawaii, Hawaii is one of the best markets to invest in. Just being, as I talked about, appreciation. Hawaii's market goes up faster than almost any other market. In some neighborhoods, it goes up like 92%. So the values of our home just go up so fast. We're on an island again. There's only so much houses. So it is the best market to buy in, just if you're just looking to hold a house and it go up in value. It's a silent bank account to me. But cash flow wise, making it a good rental, that's another thing. Those are hard to find. Those take hunting. It takes real creativity ways of making a cash flow work. So you kind of get one or the other here. You can get both, and if you can, do it. If you can get cash flow, it's breaking even or making something, it's honestly the best houses to buy. So yeah, it's one of the best markets to buy in. Yeah, it's one of the hardest markets to find a good cash flowing deal where you're not bleeding every month. Obviously, you don't want to be throwing money into a property every month or every year. We have some deals we'd love you guys to be a part of. We're looking for some investors for a Waiaka property. We need about $100,000 there. We're in the middle of that construction. Love to talk to you guys about making great returns on your money, and just being part of our deals. We have a Janesville shopping center. I think we might be fully funded, but we might have a spot open there for as well. So it's kind of a first come first service. Check out indarhawaii.com. You can go and see all the properties we have available. We do have 2 new fix and flips coming up, but I think they're fully funded already. The smaller stuff are getting funded. So we'd love to have you guys part of our projects and make great returns, and just partner with us on deals and see what it's like to invest in real estate. Thank you guys. Please like and comment and subscribe. Let me know what you thought, and we'll comment and we'll talk more. Aloha. Thank you.